All right, we are now recording.
Hello, Dr. Butler. This is Group 2, and we are ready to discuss the Lesson 3 assignment group webinar. Number 1, how do the articles define whiteness and white supremacy?
So, in the article that is Digital Storytelling is Racial Justice, they define whiteness is a social construction that embraces white culture, ideology, racialization, expressions, and experiences, epistemologies, emotions, and behaviors. So what do you guys think about that definition of whiteness?
It was definitely new to me. Whiteness isn't something I've studied before, but I definitely agree that it is kind of socially constructed. And when reading about it, I felt like all the articles kind of gave the same definition, so that was nice. So that way it was kind of repeated to us.
Right. I think underneath that very academic wordy definition of whiteness, what I gleaned from the readings was that whiteness is the dominant culture and the culture that is in power.
Yeah, and I
get that impression.
Yes. I feel like also it was something. Oh, sorry. I felt like it was something too to where it talked about as a white person we might not always see it because we don't see the daily struggles of the other races and stuff. So our eyes might not be as open to it as to other races also.
That's kind of what I took from it too. Just that it's something that we're not always exposed to or even talked to about because we're the ones that are experiencing it. We're not in the thick of the struggles that everybody else is. So I really think that it's not brought up to us, but I think it's something that as teachers. And even when we were students, it's something that should be brought to the attention to kind of help in the future when we are exposed to situations or, kids that when we're working with kids, how to just understand where they're from and what they're going through.
Great.
Are we ready for number 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. What is white fragility and why is this term useful in understanding white teachers' perceptions and engagement with race?
So what I found with this one, I thought was really interesting, the white fragility in that, I think it goes with that whiteness and the white supremacy is, we don't know how to handle certain situations because we're not exposed to it. And when we are exposed to, those struggles that people are going through or, that topic comes up that makes us feel uncomfortable, we don't know how to handle it. And I thought that was kind of what stuck out to me this whole module, I guess you would say, just because, I teach in a predominantly white school. And so when there is a kid who's, African American and something happens, everybody is very cautious on how to handle it. Where, I think if we had this conversation more often or we were exposed to it, even as teachers in, going through the teaching process, that would have been helpful for us. So we're not walking on eggshells, as that happens. Right.
I like how D'Angelo, from her white fragility article, she calls it unstable equilibrium. Said that in the video too. I mean, it is. It's just it's something that I know. Starting these articles, I was very uncomfortable. I'm like, I have taught in I don't know how many predominantly black schools, and this has never been an issue. I felt more unstable equilibrium just to be accepted by the predominant population of the school. It's very interesting how D'Angelo calls it kind of our guard against having to deal with something that should be or it is so obvious.
Well, I think part of it, too, has to do with us, living in, I guess you would call it like the white bubble that we do, that we weren't taught the other perspectives or the whole history of everything. And maybe that's why, we get that guiltiness when stuff does come up and get uncomfortable and don't know how to handle it.
Tagging on to that white fragility test, like avoidance, kind of recognizing our own race as a race and what comes with that, and our benefits equating to someone else's limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And really being able to have that explicit conversation. I also think the readings really encouraged white introspective and taking in off of people of color to encourage and white people to like recognize, the inequity there, and like us have that self-reflection and self-work of understanding our own race and what that means for other people.
Just a warning, ladies, we are at 7 minutes already on the video.
Okay, question number 3. What is white racial development?
Sorry, you cut out. I couldn't hear you.
What is white racial identity development? 6 stages with contact, disintegration, reintegration, pseudo-individual, immersion, and autonomy.
I almost felt like those identity stages, you almost kind of flow in and out of as you learn and take different classes or become more aware out in the community. That I don't think there's something saying that you stay in one stage at one time. You might be maybe in 2 or 3 at a time, and you kind of ebb and flow as it goes throughout your life.
I think that makes sense, that ebb and flow, like you said. I think that makes sense because as we're exposed to different scenarios, different situations, as we start to be more comfortable with who we are and, this situation or this conversation that can be uncomfortable and that we're not exposed to as much, I think that ebb and flow makes sense. I think it's something that we should start to include with our children and our students. But again, I think that that's hard to do if we're not having it as adults or to even introduce it to kids. I mean, I know we primarily all teach, higher elementary to middle school and high school, but, where they can handle the conversations where, it should start out at a younger age, but those conversations are hard to have.
Yeah, I'll share from, and that, by the way, the list of the stages, the Carter and Holmes article, The Relationship Between Racism and Racial Identification for White Americans, a Privilege Analysis. I thought I better note that from 2004. But something that I see us going through with these stages is I witnessed this as a kindergarten teacher many, many years ago. It was a predominantly white neighborhood, and this woman of color, this mother of color, actually brought in a white egg and a brown egg and cracked it open to show the kids that even though the outside of the eggs are a different color, they're the same on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember what the activity was that preempted that, but so it can happen at an earlier age, like at Hensley's age.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it so concrete, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a great example.
Should we move on to question number 4?
Sure.
Yeah.
How can educators address whiteness and white identity development within predominantly white schools?
I almost feel like we kind of just talked about that, about your example, Holly, and stuff, about how we just need to start it at a younger age and give them the more concrete ideas and details to kind of look at, so that way it starts young, and so that way maybe we don't have this, I don't know, divide or uncomfortableness or whatever you want to call it as they get older and as we get older as adults.
And I think the pre-service classes, because I know I did not have anything like this when I was in college and I graduated in 1986 from college with my bachelor's, and I never had anything like this, and it was a predominantly white college that I went to. But I think pre-service classes, PDs, where you invite people like Dr. D'Angelo or Dr. Helms to come in and talk, I think that would open some eyes and some hearts to the situation.
Yes.
Very important for teachers. It's like kind of our duty to avoid the I'm not racist, I am colorblind approach to teaching, recognizing color and the value of each race and also the effect of each other on each race, and just kind of teaching in a way that is very explicit, and you're not avoiding race or creed. And if some tricky situation happens in your class, or a racist act or a racist sentiment, really taking that moment to address it and having that explicit conversation as a classroom community.
I agree with you. 4-minute time warning.
Okay. What are the ways that teachers can engage in discussions on whiteness that will support the classroom space in having race-based discussions?
I think that article, the Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself article, I love the title. I thought that had a really good example where the teacher went into the predominantly Africa-colored school, and, you know, she was white, and she's like, I'm going to come in and save you. And I think that conversation of, you know, where the kids were like, oh, another one. Like, that right there is that perfect opportunity to have the conversation of, you know, yes, we're white, and, you know, but we're not superior to everybody else. And, you know, even to have the conversation, I mean, as a special ed teacher, going in and, you know, I feel like have a similar mentality of, we're going to save you, we're going to get you back to where you are. You know, kind of taking all that disability away, all the color, like, become colorblind and have the conversation of, we're all one person, and we're all humans, and let's have that conversation of, you know, what happens if another student comes in and, you know, they're the only person that's African American. But I think it's important to have the conversation as teachers, even showing, like, even having a teacher come into your room and you role play with another teacher to show that it's okay to have these conversations.
All right. And number 6, what are future considerations for teachers who are enacting white supremacy in their classrooms? What steps can teachers take to move the field forward?
I know at my school we have, or at least our school district, we have like a multicultural leadership team, that there's somebody from every building, elementary through high school, that they all go to conferences and discuss what's going on in each of the schools and how to better help students understand what's going on out in the real world and how to change it within the classrooms, what we can do within our own classrooms.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is really great. I mean, I think that needs to happen as a team, like teachers being able to be in a culture where they're supported to call each other out and report instances of white supremacy among staff and among administrators. There needs to be that open line of communication where you can report that and that can be handled properly.
We have just a little under a minute left.
Do we have any other questions?
That was the last one.
Oh, perfect. All right, I'm going to end the recording.
Bye.
All right.